What is up, TFA? Welcome into Week 4 Prop Talk. It is your co-host, Cody Kutzer. You can find me on Twitter at CKutzerFF, joined by my guy, the infidel of Dynasty, Tom Corson. You can find him on Twitter at Dynasty Infidel. I'm looking to rebound after last week. That was a rough week for me, man. It was very tilting. I went 1-3 on these picks. You went 2-3, and you just crushed Week 3 in general. If this were the human centipede, you would be at the front just gnawing down on all the food. Week 3 would be in the middle. You'd be shitting into Week 3, and then I'd be eating all of your shit. That's how it went.
That about sums it up. And technically, I went 4 out of 5 because I gave the A-Rob. I said take all of them. I just crushed it. And it's funny because you're a mailman, and unlike you, I delivered on Sunday. So I can't wait to deliver again on Sundays.
Well, you know what? I actually just hold everything and I don't deliver anything. That's how we actually do things here in the post. We throw it away. We get U-Hauls. We hide it in U-Hauls. That's how things actually happen in the post office. So hopefully I will actually do my job and maybe I will deliver this week.
I can't wait to see it. Let's go, baby.
All right, man. Why don't you start us off? Give us your first prop that you were hitting for Week 4.
All right. Just for some reason, the only thing that I'm loving this year are receiving yardage props. I don't like passing yardage props. I don't like completions. Receptions, I'm a little bit, okay. The rushing yardage, it's just a weird year for it, just because of the game script and everything. So I'm going to go running back to get over his receiving yardage, and that's James Robinson over 16.5 receiving yardage. It's at minus 112 right now. And he's hit that mark every single time this year. His lowest was 18. Last week he had 83 yards on 6 receptions. That's when they actually started looking at him more. And to tell you the truth, he looks really good in the passing game. He's been running very well, but last week when they were actually throwing the ball to him, he looked great. And that is a slam dunk bet for me. On DraftKings, I used my 50% little boost on that game, and then I maxed it out. It's 50, and then I put some more money on it. That's how good I feel about that. So that is my absolute smash bet of the week, just like A-Rob last week where I was confused at looking at everything, just saying, I don't get it. So I'm really liking J-Rob this week, Code.
You mentioned not liking the completions, but that's exactly where I'm going to go for my first one. Over on FanDuel, Dak Prescott over 25.5 completions. The over-under on that game is 56.5 currently. Dude, there are so many high totals this week. It's crazy. Even like the teams that are like kind of garbage games, like even those ones are high. Anyway, this game at 56.5, the Browns, they haven't. There's only been one quarterback who's actually hit this, and that was Joe Burrow in Week 2. But Week 1, Lamar Jackson went 21 of 26. He only had 5 incompletions. And then Week 3, it was Haskins, and say no more. He went 21 of 37. But the Browns are currently allowing the 5th most completions in the NFL, and actually they're allowing the 4th fewest rushing yards. I'm still expecting Zeke to get his. I don't think the Browns are going to shut him out by any means. But whenever you look at an over-under like this, it's at 56.5. The spread, I think, is only at like 6.5 or 7. So it's not going to be a game that's going to get completely out of hand. They're going to have to throw. Obviously, that passing game has been clicking. They're just not getting the wins. So that's the one that I like. Again, just I think with the way that the game script is going to go, going up against the defense that they're going up against and having the weapons that he has. And his over-under for passing yards is like 317.5 right now. So 25.5 completions with 317.5 being the over-under on his passing yards. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott over 25.5 completions for my first one.
And I do actually like that Dak bet. I think he threw the ball 50 times last week. I don't know if this is going to be one of those games where they bounce back and say, okay, Dak, we're just going to run the ball a lot because you threw the ball last week a ton, because sometimes they do that. But the 25.5, I do actually really like that bet. Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of high-scoring games this week, and I like that Dallas game to be one. I think Dak's going to throw a lot. I don't think it's going to be one of those Zeke games like you said, because the Cleveland line is actually really good. So I'm going to roll right into my next bet, and it's a twofer. So it's the Seahawks-Dolphins game. I like Tyler Lockett to go over 73.5 yards and DK Metcalf to go over 70.5 yards. Lockett's lowest receiving total has been 67 yards this year. DK has been 92. So he has smashed that 70 number. Okay. So according to PFF also, Miami, they're the worst team in pass coverage against wide receivers. So I think I'm kind of liking the 2 wide receivers in there. Oh, let's throw in the other fact. Both their running backs are banged up. So Chris Carson's banged up. We saw that knee injury last week where we thought he died. He gator rolled and, so Carlos Hyde actually showed up on the injury list too. So he's questionable. He's going to wind up playing. Carson might play. We don't know, but guess what? They're going to let Russ cook again. These wide receivers have been really good. I feel really good about it. The one game where there were multiple weapons against Miami, John Brown had 83. Beasley had 70. Oh, right. Stephon Diggs, 153 yards. So that's what we're looking at there when they actually have to defend multiple targets. I really like this one a lot. I think they both go 80-plus receiving yards. Code, what do you think about that game?
I mean, dude, with Seattle's pass defense being so bad, with Miami just being a bad team in general, like it's hard to not see that happen. You'd mentioned this beforehand in our Voxer chat. We were going back and forth, and I'm just like, there's going to be one of these games that Russ is not going to completely cook. Like he's only going to maybe have like one burner going on instead of like all 4. I'm not confident saying that this is going to be that game. Yeah. Like I feel like that's due to happen, but it's so hard to not want to hit the over on that. And even with Devontae Parker, I like his as well, and I think he's like 60, 65, something like that. He's around there. And with the Seahawks, if you guys get a chance, go over to the fantasyauthority.com and look for Ryan Williams' DFS building block article, and then go down to the point where he's talking about Devontae Parker and just look at how absolutely dreadful that Seahawks passing defense is. Like it is like they are the worst across basically every category, and it isn't even like remotely close. Like they've given up, it was something like 1,100 receiving yards to wide receivers, and then the next closest was Atlanta, and they were like at like 730. So they were like a full 400 yards worse than the next worst. I like those. My second one for this week is going to be Alvin Kamara over 59.5 receiving yards. We have Michael Thomas out again for the Saints, even though he practiced all week, I think, in a limited capacity. Kamara has hit that in 2 of his 3 games. In week 1, he had 51 receiving yards. On paper, the Lions look like they're better, again, defending running backs in the passing game than they actually are. But whenever you look at the box score and you look at it, week 1, they played Chicago, and there were only 5 targets between Monty and Cohen. Week 2, they had Aaron Jones, and he went 4 for 68 and a touchdown on 8 targets. And then week 3, there was only 3 targets with the Cardinals game between Drake and Edmonds. Obviously, Kamara is the only thing that is working in that offense for the Saints right now. And the thing that makes me feel even more confident in this, Drew Brees, his intended air yards per pass attempt is 4.8, the lowest in the league.
I was going to make a joke and say 6.
And nope, it's worse than your joke. Yeah, it's worse than your joke. So this one I feel pretty confident in. I think Kamara's catches, the line for this game on FanDuel was it's 6.5. So the 59.5 receiving yards just seems too easy to me. So that is going to be my second one for the week.
So that one's actually pretty juicy, the Kamara one, because he's typically at 5.5. So the fact that they bumped that up, and the fact that he killed it last week. He looks awesome. He is the only thing that they have. His fantasy points is 24.5. I actually really like that one as well. He had the same number last week, and he crushed that. So Kamara, go get you some Kamara. But you know what? We're going to go with some Kenny G playing some smooth jazz over here. And I said fantasy points earlier. Let's go over 14.5 fantasy points. That just seems like a smash bet. The Saints have been absolutely putrid against wide receivers so far. They're 30th in the league against coverage against wide receivers. I don't understand how he's not going to hit that number. His receiving yardage is at 63.5. I like the fantasy points better at 14.5 just because I think Kenny G gets into the end zone. And that's a little bit easier. So if he's just getting peppered with targets and, he goes 8 for, 70, you're still going to get it. But I think he winds up getting a touchdown. I know Clubber Lang, CJ over at Fantasy Authority, loves the receiving yardage as well. I'm going to take the safer bet with the fantasy points, but I still do like the receiving at 63.5.
I like it, man. And it makes it a lot easier on me since you just gave all this analysis, because I'm actually going to stay at this game, and I'm going with Marvin Jones over 48.5 receiving yards. You laid out everything for the Saints. That defense is not what it was. There's still going to be points put up on this because I don't think the Lions are going to be able to stop even the Alvin Kamara Saints as it is that offense there. Marvin Jones has hit 48.5 in 2 to 3 weeks. With Kenny G being back, I think that helps. With the Saints, week 1 they gave up that amount to 2 receivers. I think it was Scotty Miller and Chris Godwin. Both had like over 70 week 1. Week 2 was a Darren Waller show. They didn't have anything going. The Raiders didn't have anything going on with their wide receivers that game, but Darren Waller absolutely went off. He went over for 100 yards. And then last week, Alan Lazard had himself a damn game with 146 receiving yards. So I like Marvin Jones over 48.5 for my last one.
I really like that one as well. I like both receivers to actually hit their numbers in this one.
We appreciate you guys joining us. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, ideas, comments for us, please drop a comment in the YouTube video below. Anything that would be more helpful to you guys, anything that we can help you out with. Like I said last week, as much as we like talking to each other and producing this kind of content, we also want to help make sure we're helping you guys out. So until next week, you can find me on Twitter at CKutzerFF. You can find Tom at Dynasty Infidel. You can find the Fantasy Authority on Twitter at FF_authority. If you're checking this out for the first time, please be sure to smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, and we will hit you guys next week for week 5. See ya.